Hi, I am Dr. Selvaraj, your surgical educator from Malaysia. Welcome back to my series of surgical teaching videocasts. These are meant mainly for undergraduate medical students doing the surgical clerkship rotation. I promise you will become competent in clinical problem solving and surgical decision making if you are going to watch these videos over and over again. So today in this episode, I am going to discuss one more image based questions in lower GI tract pathology. So our patient is a 50-year-old female patient presents with left lower quadrant pain for 2 days duration. Pain is constant, moderate, and doesn't radiate anywhere else. Patient is also having low-grade fever. There was no history of bleeding PR, but there is mild tenderness in left lower quadrant. CECT images are shown here. The figure A and figure B both are CECT of abdomen and pelvis. So these are the two figures and these are the 6 questions. Question number 1, what are the findings in figure A and figure B? Question number 2, what is the etiopathogenesis of this condition or the pathology? Question number 3, what are the clinical features of this condition? Question number 4, what investigation you should not do if you suspect this pathology? Number 5, what is the grading or staging in this disease? Number 6, how will you manage this patient? So I request all my viewers to pause the video and try to answer all these 6 questions. After answering all these 6 questions, you can verify your answer with the correct answers which I am going to discuss in the subsequent slides. Okay, coming to the question number 1, that is, what are the findings in figure A and in figure B? The correct answer is, figure A shows thickened bowel wall. You can see it here. This is figure A. You can see thickened bowel wall here. This is the bowel wall. You are seeing the thickened bowel wall with facial infiltration of the mesentery. Here also you can see edematous mesentery. So this is a case of uncomplicated acute diverticulitis. Whereas in figure B, that shows abscess cavity with presence of multiple air bubbles here. So here, whatever, this is the abscess cavity, and these white, the black spots are all small air bubbles. So this is a case of complicated acute diverticulitis. Question number 2, what is the etiopathogenesis of this condition? The correct answer is the erosion of the wall either by the increased intraluminal pressure or by inspissated food particles. So because of this erosion, the patient will develop the pseudo-diverticulum. Diverticulum, that is nothing but protrusion of only the mucosa and the submucosa. Then, the diverticulum may undergo inflammation and focal necrosis because of some infection because of the fecolates, and eventually, that will end up in either a micro or macroscopic perforation. Usually, mild inflammation with perforation is walled off by the pericolic fat and mesentery. Abscess, however, abscess, fistula or obstruction can also ensue. Poor containment of this perforation results in free perforation and eventually perforative peritonitis. Question number 3, what are the clinical features of this pathology? So the correct answer is the clinical features depend on severity of inflammation and presence of complications. So it ranges from asymptomatic patient to the generalized peritonitis. Suppose if it is uncomplicated acute diverticulitis, patient may have left lower quadrant pain and tenderness in 2/3 of the patients. Patient also may have constipation, diarrhea or urinary symptoms because of adjacent inflammation. Patient also may have low-grade fever, mild leukocytosis, and occult or gross blood in the stool rarely coexist with acute diverticulitis. So complicated cases happen in 25% of the patients. These complications may be an abscess where you will have a palpable and tender abdominal mass, or one more complication is a fistula, and this may be a colovesical, coloenteric, colovaginal or colocutaneous fistula. The colovesical fistula is the most common fistula, and the hallmark sign for colovesical fistula is these patients, they have what is called pneumochoria, or they will pass the air in the urine, or even sometimes even the fecal material can be passed along with the urine. Or the patient may also go for colonic obstruction due to scarring from repeated inflammation of this part of the large bowel. Or they may go for perforation, generalized peritonitis. Maybe this may be a feculent peritonitis, or it is just a purulent peritonitis. Recurrent attacks rarely lead to peritonitis. Unless it is a perforation, it won't go for peritonitis. So question number 4, what investigation you should not do if you suspect this pathology? So the correct answer is, in acute diverticulitis, you shouldn't do either colonoscopy and barium enema for fear of perforation. So what investigation you should do? The gold standard investigation in case of suspected acute diverticulitis is of course CECT of the abdomen and pelvis. That is what you are seeing. Both figure A and figure A, both are CECT of the abdomen or the pelvis. So question number 5, what is the grading or staging in this disease? So the correct answer is, in complicated diverticulitis, and the grading or the staging or the classification is known as Hinch's classification. So in stage 1 or grade 1, the patient usually they have pericolic or mesenteric abscess. This is what you are seeing in this figure. In stage 2, walled off pelvic abscess. The abscess is there, but it is confined to only the pelvis. Stage 3, patient will have generalized peritonitis, but this is purulent peritonitis. That is stage 3. In stage 4, here also free peritonitis, but this is a generalized fecal peritonitis. That is stage 4. So this is the grading or the classification. This is known as Hinch's classification. So question number 6, how will you manage this patient? The correct answer is, if it is an uncomplicated acute diverticulitis, you have to do only conservative management. Outpatient, if it is just patient is not having any CIRS or evidence of any inflammation, severe inflammation, you can treat this patient as an outpatient, where you have to give clear fluids only to these patients until improvement, and you can give antibiotics also. If your patient is having CIRS, evidence of CIRS also, then you have to admit the patient, hospitalize the patient, and treat the patient with, keep the patient NPO, give IV fluids, and give IV antibiotics. Image guided, that is the CT guided percutaneous drainage of abscess, reduces the urgency of surgical resection in most of these patients. So when we have to do surgery, or what are the indications for surgery? Unstable patient with peritonitis, the Hinch's stage 3 and 4. After one attack of acute, diverticulitis, if your patient is immunocompromised, or 3 or more attacks of diverticulitis in normal patients. Complications like perforation, abscess, fistula, obstruction, hemorrhage, and inability to rule out colon cancer. All these are indications for surgical intervention. So what surgery you have to do? If your patient is an unstable patient or a complex case, better you do a Hartmann's procedure. So what is Hartmann's procedure? You have to do colon resection, you have to do colostomy, that is temporary colostomy, and a rectal stump which you have to keep it inside, and the colostomy reversal you have to do within 3 to 6 months, and this is what is called the Hartmann's procedure. For more stable patient with Hinchey stage 3 and stage 4 acute diverticulitis, you can do colonic resection, but here you can do, because you can prepare the large bowel and you can go for primary anastomosis with a diverting loop ileostomy. That is becoming the more common method of treatment nowadays for more stable patients. Okay, you can do resection, but you can do a primary anastomosis with for safety you can do a diverting loop ileostomy also. This is the standard treatment nowadays. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you think that these videos are very useful, kindly subscribe to this channel and click the bell button to get notification regarding my recent uploads. Thank you very much once again for watching this video. Let us meet in yet another episode. Until then, bye bye.